am one of Amazon's best-selling authors of Jumpstart Your Credit: How to Settle and Negotiate Your Debts. Doing a free webinar. I actually decided to do this webinar. It's basically how to jumpstart your 2016 to improve your credit. And so why I decided to do this webinar is because as we approach into the new year, many people will start to begin to have resolutions. And with these resolutions, one of the most common resolutions is that individuals want to get out of debt and increase their credit score. So instead of being like the rest of the Americans who are going to wait until December the 31st or January the 1st of 2016, now is a great time to actually get started. And so what I said is that I would decide to do this free webinar to actually help people to jumpstart and get ready for the new year. So tonight, before I get started with the information that I want to share with you, I want to, give you an idea of who I am and why, you should be listening to me. As I mentioned to you, in the next 30 minutes, maybe about 30 to 45 minutes or less than that, I'm going to give you some strategies. And what I'm going to do is to gear you to get started with analyzing and putting a game plan together to be able to increase your credit score and lower or get rid of, your debts. So now that I've told you what to expect in the next 30 minutes, like I said, I want to explain who I am and why you should listen to me. Besides being one of Amazon's best-selling authors, this is my book right here. As you can see, I still take a lot of notes, out of the book. And this book right here is a book that became an Amazon's best-selling book. This book does help you to get rid of debt collectors. That is the main theme of this book. And so many people always ask, well, Aurelia, what makes your book different than many other books out there on the market? And like I said, that book right there will help you how to get rid of debt collectors. And that's why, I started off saying why you should listen to me. Because around about 10 years, well, maybe longer than that, around 1999, 2000, I just remember we're in 2015, so it's been over 10 years ago. I was in the same situation as many of the people that will be listening to this webinar. I was somebody who struggled with debt collectors. I had them calling my house. I had them sending letters to my home. I had them calling me. They were calling my job. On top of that, I had a really low credit score. And so the straw that broke the camel's back was around that time, around 99 or 2000, a debt collector was able to take $2,200 out of my bank account without any questions asked. They didn't ask me. They didn't tell me that they were going to do it. They went on and they actually did it. And I know you may be wondering, well, Aurelia, legally, can they do that? Well, let me share with you. No, they're not legally able to do that. But there are laws and there's loopholes that they can jump through if you, as the consumer, like myself at that time, don't know what to do to prevent that from happening. And so all the information I'm going to share with you tonight, I didn't know this back then. So what happened was that I was someone who I became a victim. I started to, sing that old song about, oh, woe is me, and why is this happening, and why me, and why did this happen? And then I decided to take another route and say, you know what, I want to be a victor. What is it that I can do? What is it that I need to learn to be able to help me to not let this happen again? I do not want to be someone that, has to run from debt collectors. And so I want to take back, my life. And I want to get on the road of rebuilding, my credit. So that is my story. That is why you should listen. So what happened was that I immersed myself in all types of information to help me to, be at a place where I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And so once I was able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I saw the light for myself, I started to help other people. I started to share with them, all the information that I knew to help them to be able to rebuild their credit and get rid of debt collectors. And then lo and behold, some years later, I decided to write a book. And now I'm able to spread this message and impact other people through written words, through my videos, through blog posts, through audio, through teleseminars, through Google Hangouts like this, where I'm actually, able to share with people what they need to do to rebuild their credit and increase their credit score and get rid of debt collectors. So now I'm going to go into the topic at hand. Now, like I said, this is a webinar to help anyone who is serious. And remember, you have to be serious about wanting to take this road to rebuild your credit. This is not, it's not a magic pill. This is not something that, you're just looking for that one letter. Let me explain this to you. There is not one letter. There's no magic letter that is going to take away all your bad history and derogatory information. It does not exist. But what does exist is that you can leverage the federal laws, which I'm going to kind of share with you tonight, that's going to help you to get rid of a lot of that derogatory information that may be actually being displayed on your credit report. And so with that being said, are you willing? Are you ready to now decide on, what, Lorelia, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to be able to rebuild my credit. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sharing the screen with you. And so if you're really serious, you're really ready to get in gear and to increase your credit score, the information I'm going to share with you is some of the common myths. These are some of the common myths that will prevent people from getting a jump start for 2016. I mean, like I said, we all will talk about, oh, this is what I want to do, but only a few of us will actually get in gear and say, okay, I am actually going to be a champion. I'm going to be a victor. I'm going to take this information, I'm going to apply it, and I'm going to be able to do some of those things that, I mentioned, to be able to increase, your credit score, to be able to eliminate debt, to be able to, expand your buying power. So like I said, what I'm going to do is I am going to share my screen with you. And so I am going to begin to share with me what you need to do to jumpstart your 2016. So let me share my screen. Okay, so right now what you're looking at is the first slide, get a jump start on your credit for 2016. I've already did that, so I'm going to go over to the next slide. So like I said, why now? I've kind of briefly went over why you should want to rebuild your credit now. Well, let me share a secret with you. Many people, they always wonder, okay, what is it that credit repair companies do? What is it that they do to be able to help people to increase their credit scores and rebuild their credit? Well, you know what? I don't believe that there are any secrets, but if there is something that I have to share to the consumers out there that many consumers do not know, is that during the time of November and December are the best times to start disputing your credit. And I know you may be wondering, well, Lorelia, why is that? It's because we are technically in holiday season. Once Halloween is over, as you've noticed, Thanksgiving is pretty much phased out. Most people are really concentrating on Christmas. And so what that means is that many of the staff people, because yes, let me tell you, the credit bureaus are just regular companies. They're regular companies that have regular people who work in those companies. And during that time, those regular companies are doing what other companies are doing. They're celebrating, getting ready for the holiday season. They're having holiday parties. Many of the staff maybe, going away, for the holiday, and many people are on a limited work schedule. So I know you're wondering, well, Aurelia, what does that mean about my credit? What that means is that since there's a limited staff at the credit bureaus, now is the best time. Because remember, the law says, which is the Federal Credit Reporting Act, says that a credit bureau has 30 days to be able to dispute an item on your credit report. And if after those 30 days they had an item, it must be deleted off. And so this is why the ball is in your court. Why not send letters to the credit bureaus disputing all this information that they're saying that's on the credit on your credit report? And you know what? It just so may happen that they may not get back to you on time. And so now you have leverage in your court to be able to now have that information removed. Now, another reason why you want to wait now is because if you don't know this, I'm going to go to the other side of the coin. Now, I've already told you about the credit bureaus, but now I want to go to those so-called creditors. Those so-called people who are saying you owe them money. Those so-called debt collectors that say you owe them money. Let me explain something to you. Many debt collectors, or should I say the debt collecting companies, they are now getting ready to close out the year. They're trying to settle as many accounts as they can. So now is the time where you're going to get all types of offers about, let's settle this. How about we settle for pennies on a dollar, whatever the dollar amount may be. But see, the thing that I want to share with you is that you may not know this, but many of them debt collectors are not even legally liable to even collect on that money. So why are you trying to go into some type of negotiation, back and forth agreement with someone who does not legally have access to the money? Now, you may not know this, but I have shared this information in many podcasts and written word and videos, but I don't want to assume that you know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to talk to you as if you've never heard the information I share with you. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, Lori, how is it that the debt collector says I owe them money, but you're telling me that I don't have to pay them? There's a such thing as the FDCPA. That's called the Federal Debt Collection Practices Act. They are the federal government agency that oversees how debt collectors are supposed to communicate with consumers. Did you know that there is a statute under the FDCPA where a debt collector has to validate the debt? You got that. They have to validate the debt. You as the consumer have the right to ask them, show me. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, like I said, it's section code 809. And what that means is that a debt collector has to give you some type of documentation that will show them that they are legally liable to collect on this debt. Now, if you go to my website at www.jumpstartyourcreditbook.com, there you will find, under the resources tab, you will find a sample debt validation letter. That is the letter that you have to use to communicate to a debt collector to ask them to validate the debt. So now I'm going to go to the next slide. Now I'm going to go into the myths. Now remember that I said as you approach 2016 and you want to put a game plan together, I'm going to dispel all the myths. There are a lot of myths out there which prevent people from getting started. Some people will only have a very good talk game. They'll talk about they want to get out of debt. They will talk about they want to rebuild their credit, but many of them will not do it. So the myth one is, I have to pay off all my debts. Let me explain this to you, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this webinar. When you decide to take the vow that you are going to increase your credit score and eliminate debts, the worst thing that you want to do is look at your credit report, see what's outstanding, and then say, okay, I'm going to pay this off. Now, let me put a disclaimer. It depends on what type of debts they are. In my book, I break out current debts. I talk about current debts, past due debts, and I talk about charged off debts. Now, when I say paying off debts, I'm not talking about current or past due debts. Those debts are still debts that you do have, that you have a legal obligation to pay them. But I'm talking about those charged off debts. I'm talking about that person who has a bad credit score. 9 times out of 10, that person has a large amount of debt collectors who are either calling them, or they're either sending them some type of settlement, or they're either on their credit report. Let me share with you, ladies and gentlemen, there are so many things that you need to do before you even decide to write a check or give them a debit card number to pay those debts off. You do not want to start paying off debts just because a debt collector says that you owe them, because there's many things in hand. Like I mentioned to you in the beginning, have they even validated the debt? Have they even showed you proof that they are legally liable to even collect on the debt? Number 2, has the statute of limitations passed on the debt? If you don't know what I mean by statute of limitations, ladies and gentlemen, there's a time period of how long a debt collector can actually report anything on your credit report. There's actually a time period of how long a debt collector can even collect on the debt. In the state of New Jersey, where I'm at, a debt collector only has 6 years. That's right, 6 years to collect on any type of debt. So let me ask you this. Why are you paying off a debt where you don't even know if the statute of limitations has even passed on the debt? That's something that you want to keep in mind. So that is the first myth. Like I said, individuals think, oh, I need money to pay off my debts. That is not true. 80% of the debts that are on consumer credit reports, half of them don't even need to be paid. 80% of them should not even be paid. So if you don't understand the strategy on what you need to do before you even decide to pay on those debts, then you need to stay tuned and you need to continue listening to the end. Now I'm going to go to the next slide. Myth 2, I will let them age off. That's the worst thing that you want to do, because let me explain something to you, ladies and gentlemen. Good credit just doesn't come in time. It doesn't happen like that. Like I said, most consumers don't even understand the credit report. They don't know how to read a credit report. They don't even understand what's good on their credit report and what's bad. And so what that means is that half of the time, many consumers have information on their credit report that legally needs to come off. But unfortunately, it will not just fall off. Yeah, there are times when it does, but then there's a lot. So if you're someone who says, raise their hand and said, I want to, get a jump start on my credit for 2016. I want to be able to increase my credit score. Well, then you do not want to fall victim to myth 2. You will let them age off, because like I said, good credit doesn't just happen. I just previously gave you in the other slide, I told you that a creditor only has 7 years to report derogatory information. Does that mean that after that 7 years is going to just fall off? No. Let me share something with you, ladies and gentlemen. The credit bureaus make a lot of money with you being in debt and having bad credit. The credit bureaus, yes, have a legal right, according to the federal law, to report only correct information. but they're not going to proactively help you. They're not. As much as a debt collector will say, oh, if you pay this off, we'll do this, we'll do that. No, they won't. They are not in the business of helping you improve your credit. They only have one thing in mind, and that is to collect on the debt. So do not fall victim to the old saying of they will age off. And when they age off, that is when I will decide to rebuild my credit. The next myth that I want to discuss is my credit is too, and you can take it any way you want, or my credit is just. So let me go into what I mean about my credit is too. Many people feel like my credit is too bad. I have bankruptcies, I have foreclosures, I have tax liens, I have child support, whatever the case may be. But yes, you may have all that information, derogatory stuff on your credit report. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, ladies and gentlemen. There is. You know, I understand that information may be on your credit report, but you can rebuild. You can rebuild after bankruptcy. You can rebuild after a judgment. You can rebuild after a foreclosure. Whatever derogatory information is there, you can rebuild. The thing is add something. And like I said, don't fall under the old adage of what I just talked about before about it will age off. The other part of that I want to talk about myth two is that my credit is just. Is just what? Many people say, oh, well, I just have $3,000 worth of credit, so it's not that bad. That's not true. Your credit score is not based on how much credit you have outstanding. Yes, utilization it does play a part. What does utilization mean? That has to do with how much credit was extended to you and how much of it you are using. But that still does not mean that just because you have $2,000 and that may not be a lot to you, that your credit score will go up. Your credit is not made up of how much credit 2,000. A person only over here has 100,000, so that means that your score is going to be better than that other person's. No, because there could be a person who has $100,000 in outstanding debt, paying it on time, has never defaulted, has never had a charged off account, and just has large amounts of credit extended to them. And they can have better credit than the person who's like, hey, I only have about 2,000 or 3,000, but they have charge offs, they're paying late, and a whole bunch of other information. So do not fall victim to myth three. My credit is too, or it's just. The fourth myth that I want to go into is I need a credit repair company. I can't do it myself. Now, by all means, this is not to bash credit repair companies, but let me share this to you. Many people decide to do a credit repair company is because they want to pass the baton to someone else. They do not want to take responsibility of their situation. So they feel like, let me give it to a credit repair company. Or they may be that individual that feels like, oh, the credit repair company can do something that I don't have. Let me tell you this, the credit repair companies, and this is not to bash them, they do not have no special magic letters. They do not have a direct line to the CEOs of credit bureaus, and they're going to magically improve your credit. The only thing that they have that you may not have is that they have knowledge. They have with leveraging the FCRA and the FDCPA to be able to help you as the consumer. But you also have that power too. Because many people think that what I do is that I am functioning as a credit repair company. I am not a credit repair company. I'm not licensed. I'm not bonded. I do not advertise myself as a credit repair company. What I do is I provide financial education, financial literacy education, and rebuilding your credit and dealing with a component of that financial literacy triangle. So what I do is I provide education. Now, many people say, well, should I use a credit repair company? It depends on what it is that you want to do. I'm a big advocate of getting educated. I'm a big advocate of you should have education and you should be educated so you do not find yourself in the same situation that you were in before. Because giving it to a credit repair company for them to do is the easy part. But the hard part of it is understanding why you got into that situation the first place. Like I shared with you my story in the beginning of me having all that derogatory information on my credit report, debt collectors coming after me, they're running after me. And then from there, them taking money, putting a levy against my account due to my ignorance because I just didn't know, and that they were able to take the money out of my account. But I had to get to a point where I had to own my stuff because yes, I could have just gave it to someone to just fix, but I took the responsibility to say I am going to do something. So that is all I have to say about credit repair companies. Yes, you can do it yourself. There's no such thing as magic letters or special letters. All it is that a person has more knowledge than you. But I'm a big advocate of you should gain this knowledge too because you will help yourself get out of the mess that you're in. And eventually you may can help somebody that you know do the same. The fifth myth and my final myth is it's too overwhelming. I can't do it myself. This kind of falls in line of what I was talking about before with do I need a credit repair company? Let me share with you. You may feel like it's overwhelming and that you do want to give it to somebody else. But that is why I'm here. That is why you're on this webinar. I'm here to hold your hand. I've made all the mistakes, and what I want to do is share my mistakes with you and show you how I've learned from them to help myself to be able to rebuild my credit and to get rid of debt collectors. So it does not have to be overwhelming. All you have to do is be ready to learn. Be ready to be that person to say, I want to know what it is that you know, Lorraine. I want to be able to leverage those laws that you talked about, the debt validation letter, the FDCPA, all the statutes that are a part of that. Why debt collectors cannot call my job. Why they cannot harass me on the phone. Why they cannot harass me by mail. Why they cannot call my neighbor's house. Why is derogatory information still on my credit report and the statute of limitations is over and it's past 7 years? You can learn this information too, but you just have to be willing to say, I need help. And Lorelia, can you help me? And that is why I'm here. That is why I'm here. I am looking to lock arms and to show individuals what it is that I am doing. So what I'm announcing is that at the end of this webinar, I'm going to share with you how you can continue this process of learning all the information that I shared with you. But now I'm going to go to my final slide. If this is the first time that you've ever seen anything that I've shared with you, in front of you, I want you to go to this website, yourmoneymentor.com/get rid of debt collectors. There, you're going to be able to download the first half of my book for free. From there, I'm going to communicate with you, sharing with you pretty much daily or numerous times during the week, things that you can do to rebuild your credit. Now, on top of that, I'm also going to be holding a series of classes because I don't want you to go overwhelmed. I'm here to help. I am going to be holding bi-weekly classes. That's right, twice a month. I'm going to be holding classes, sharing with you how to put a game plan and a campaign together. So what I'm going to do, come back to the screen. So like I said, I am going for the for going into really going on now. As of this week, I'm looking to lock arms with individuals and share with them and show them my expertise. I'm going to be doing these webinars on a bi-weekly basis. I mean a bi-monthly basis, twice 2 times during the month, and possibly more if need be. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have individuals pick my brain because I've gotten your emails from many of you all who are watching this video, this webinar. You want someone to be able to guide you and hold your hand to show you what it is that you need to do. And so I am here to help you. Now, as a bonus, because you may be wondering, well, Lorelia, I know it's a lot of information, but how are you going to prevent me from being overwhelmed? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you again, because I'm going to share with you the bonus that you're going to get once you decide to make this investment. Now, the investment cost is going to, yes, it's going to cost you. Knowledge costs. Do not buy into what a lot of people are sharing with you, that information is free. Yes, information is free and it will get you to a certain point. But at a certain point, you're going to need to ask questions. And that is why I'm here. Because if you have soaked up all the free information that I've given you, you've listened to my webinars, you've listened to my audios, you've read some of the written word that I've put together, and you're still in the same situation that you were in, it's because you need help. The same thinking that got you in the situations you in is not the same thinking that's going to get you out of it. You need someone to help you. Now you may be asking, well, Lorelia, who helped you? Yes, I had to invest in myself too. But there's two ways that you're going to make that investment. You're going to make it with time or with money. Now keep in mind, it took me a while. I'm not going to sit here and say I read one book and voila, I was a credit guru. I knew all this information. I made a lot of mistakes. One of the mistakes that I did is what I talked about in myth 1, paying off all my debt. That's the worst thing that you want to do, but I'm going to put a disclaimer out there. If your goal is to increase your credit score, paying off old debt from charged off accounts from debt collectors is not going to increase your credit score. I made that mistake thinking that, oh, let me just go ahead and pay all this debt. I have some money in the bank. I was making good money where I was working. I was a single woman. Let me just pay all this stuff off. It did nothing to my credit score. The reason why is because many of those people that I paid were not even legally entitled to get that money. Number two, many of the debts that I paid, the statute of limitations was over. So when I say you're going to either pay in monetary value or in time and mistakes, at the end of the day, you will pay. So that was the first mistake that I made. And then I had to recover from that mistake and continue learning and educating myself. So by the time I eventually got the whole circle, I'll be honest with you, it took me a good 4 to 5 years to finally say, oh, I got it. Now, if that's the time that you all have, by all means, you work at your pace. You read books, you listen to free webinars, you make a few mistakes, and you learn from it, and maybe in 5 years, or maybe in a shorter period of time, or maybe even longer, you too will now gain some knowledge and now be at a point where you're not dealing with the havoc of having bad credit and dealing with debt collectors. But if you're that person who says, I want to jumpstart, I don't want to make no mistakes, I want someone to hold my hand, then I am here to share my information and resources with you. So remember, I said to you that I was going to share my screen. Well, like I said, yes, I am going to share my screen, because the second half of this webinar is now I'm going to share with you the bonus that you're going to get by taking part in these bi-monthly webinars. What I decided to do was partner with someone who has become a good friend of mine. His name is Mr. Mark Claiborne, and he too is also an Amazon best-selling author of Hidden Credit Repair Secrets. And he's put together a robust software, a great software that I am now going to be using as a bonus as I share with you all these strategies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the software to show you all the bells and whistles. You're going to get my knowledge and expertise, strategies and all, along with the software. Now that's a good combination. You get to pick my brain, ask me questions, make mistakes, send out letters, along with, as a bonus, you're getting the software. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen again. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is credit repair dispute software system. So not only are you able to get the knowledge and expertise from me, the ability to pick my brain, the ability for me to share with you my mistakes and to share with you some of the ways that you are going to approach the credit bureaus to be able to remove all that derogatory information. This is the software that I will be leveraging. Mr. Claiborne has put together a robust software. As you can see, we're in the home screen, and what you're going to do to get started is that right here is allow you to put information. Now, remind you, this is not just a open source software. You cannot just freely go out and buy this. At this time, Mr. Claiborne is not supporting this software to consumers. And so I just want to let you know that this software is only for consumers. It is not for credit repair companies that need a software to use. This software is for consumers. So consumers who will partner with me, where I will be able to be their guide. I am going to educate them. I'm going to provide them with webinars. I am going to show them what it is that they need to do to rebuild their credit, but I'm going to be leveraging this software, and I'm going to show you why I'm deciding to partner with Mr. Claiborne to present this software to you. As you can see, you can put in all your information. That's going to populate into the system. You have the ability to put up to 3 people. It can be you, your husband or wife, and maybe your child who's of age and has credit. Then, of course, you have the users. It's going to show right here. Then Mr. Claiborne gives you a whole series of all types of training videos. He gives you a getting started video on how to use the software. He gives you the dispute process. He gives you the strategy and the campaigns. He gives you, of course, the new user. I talked about that. He talks about putting in your credit scores and inaccurate information. He goes into the credit bureau disputes, creditor collection agency disputes, respond and results. As you can see, he has about 14 things for you to get started with on training videos. Then right here, he has the dispute strategy. And if you start here, he tells you what you're going to do. So not only do you get the knowledge from him, but you get the knowledge and expertise from me, because I'm going to give you my approach to how to do it too. So when you marry the two, the expertise from Mr. Claiborne with the software, and then the expertise from me physically telling you what to do, you have a great marriage to get you going for 2016. Then right here, you have the response areas. And this is all the typical credit bureaus will have with you. They may send you more information, suspicious, your account has, the list go on and on and on. Now right here, I mean, Mr. Claiborne has really, he's went all out. I mean, right now, if you see, you have the different tabs. You have letters you send to the credit bureaus. Then you have the collection letters that you send to debt collectors. Then you have regular creditor letters. Then you have the response letters, other letters, and then he tells you, of course, send letters certified. If you've ever sat in any one of my trainings, you will have known that I've always tell people, send letters certified return receipt. Do not use that online dispute system on the computer. You do not want to use that. So as you can see, let me read to you some of the things that you're going to get. Account sold and transferred. If you have that on your credit report, he tells you all 6 letters that you need to send. Then if you're not the authorized user, you need to improve something on your credit report. Bankruptcy, charge-offs, collection accounts, foreclosed sales, hybrid letters. That's pretty much a mix of different scenarios. If you are a victim of identity theft, inquiry letters, judgment, one late payment, outdated accounts, tax liens, re-aged accounts, vehicle repos. You one letter. So I go under vehicle repo letter 1 and I click here. There you go. You put in your name, your date, the credit bureau. I'm writing this letter in regards to the above reference repossession account. This, that, and the other. I'm not going to read it out to you, but if you can look on the screen, as you can see, he gives you ability to save it, and then you can print it if you want. So you can, there you go. Edit it right here. No need. And then you just print right from your computer. There you go. How easy is that? Then in the collection letters account, you have account transfers and sold, collection account, duplicate counts, identity theft, pay a collection account that is still on your credit report, re-age account again. Then these are the creditor letters. These are the actual letters that you're going to send to the actual creditor. It can be the original creditor, Visa, MasterCard, Discover, whoever you took the contract out with. Then you have response letters. Remember, credit bureaus will send you letters, collection agencies, if you need to send letters to a regular creditor. And then he gives all types of miscellaneous letters: debt settlement, identity theft, medical bills, child support. So there you have it. Then on top of that, Mr. Claiborne gives you the credit repair training. how to read your credit report, credit repair guide in audio version. He gives you all types of information. Like I said, he has totally pretty much put everything that you could possibly deal with when you are rebuilding your credit. Then you have to discuss, and he gives you links and information on that. And of course, the contacts, bureaus, who to send it to, them, Equifax, on and on and on. So I am back. So you may be wondering, okay, Lorelia, how can I get access to you telling me what to do step by step? I get to pick your brain along with, as a bonus, because this is what I want to share with you. I have just recently partnered up with Mr. Claiborne to present this software to the people that I'm working with. In the past, I did this based on my knowledge and expertise, and I've used those resources. But if I see something that can be an advantage to someone that I'm working with, by all means, I am going to share that resource with them. And that is why I'm presenting the dispute software. Because you may be wondering, well, Lorelia, if you're someone who worked with me in the past, well, you didn't have that software before. It's not needed. But like I said, this is a bonus because I would still be doing this even if I didn't have the software. So the software is a bonus. But look at everything that you're getting. I mean, this is not some old shim sham software. As you can see, this is robust software. I mean, Mr. Claiborne has threw every credit scenario in there. So now you may be wondering, how can I get hold of the software? How can I get hold to you being able to present these workshops and trainings that you said that you're going to do on a bi-monthly basis? I'm going to be doing these trainings twice a month, possibly more if need be. The software itself, to be part of those trainings, along with get access to the software, is $97, and that is billable every month. So that's less than $3 a day that you are paying to be able to rebuild your credit, along with get rid of debt. And you are using a state-of-the-art Windows-based software, along with the knowledge and expertise of myself. That is for $97 a month. Now, if you're someone who's like, well, Lorelia, I would like to be able to pick your brain, to ask you stuff, to send you emails, for me to send you my information, then that is at a different level than the $97 a month, and I'll be glad to talk to you about that as well. But if you're just someone who says, I just need a little help, I just need someone to be able to bounce questions off of, along with getting some training until I can get to the point, because you're not locked into this. Once you decide to say that I want to be someone you want to work with me so I can show you what to do, how to take those laws to rebuild your credit, along with using the software that I've shown you, then like I said, there is an investment to it. And that investment is $97 per month. You will get the license key for the software. You will get access to what I call the financial inner circle. There I'm going to be doing bi-monthly or possibly more trainings and calls, along with you having the access to ask me what you want to ask me about rebuilding your credit. Because, like I said, if you have soaked up all types of free information and you are still in the same place that you were in, then that means it's time for you to make the next step. Because the same thinking, and I can't stress this enough. The same thinking that got you into the situation is not the same thinking that can get you out of the situation. So at this point, I am almost at an hour. I'm at 9:50. I spent more time than I wanted. I promise you that I was only going to do 30 to 45 minutes, and I shared with you a lot. I went through the myths, things that you need to even get started with rebuilding your credit for 2016. You have to eliminate all 5 myths that I told you. Get rid of those 5 myths. Once you get rid of those 5 myths, you are now on the road to get started. Then the second part of this webinar, I share with you the software that I'm going to be using. Is a credit dispute software. This is going to allow me to now have training where I'm going to show you how to put together a campaign. That's right, the campaign that you're going to put together to send to a debt collector, the campaign that you're going to send to a credit bureau, and then from there you're going to send it off. Remember, I said this is the best time of the year. Thanksgiving is what? Next week. It's going to be a skeleton crew working at these credit bureaus. Now is the time to bombard them. Let's give them all the ammunition that we can to be able to gain our sanity back and rebuild our credit. So that's it. That is it. I promise you 30 to 45 minutes. That is how I was going to do it. Showing you the myths that you need to eliminate to rebuild your credit, along with now the software that I'm going to use to help you. So once again, here, if you did not see the whole 45 to 50 minutes of me doing this webinar, what I want you to do is rewind it back and watch the whole webinar. Also, if you are new to hearing my voice, you're new to hearing the content that I share, I gave you the link of how you can stay in touch with me. You can go to www.yourmoneymentor.com/get rid of debt collectors, or you can go right here to the www that you see on the screen, which is www.jumpstartyourcreditbook.com. There, you'll be able to download the first half of my book. Then if you are someone who is connected to me by email, or if we worked together in the past, look forward to me sharing with you when I'm going to be kicking off these classes. I plan to kick them off by Wednesday. And so if you're someone who's like, I have more questions, I need more training, then you need to be in this class. No more. How long are you going to go on trying to soak up this free information? I told you my track record of how long it took me, all the mistakes that I made before I was able to now say, I got it. If you have that time to waste, told you it took me 5 years, by all means, you take your time and you work at that pace. But if you want to speed it up, if you want to shorten the learning curve, if you want to learn from my mistakes or learn by my successes, and as well as other people that I've worked with, by all means, I want you to lock arms, connect with me, and then I will, like I said, I will be sharing with you information on how you can be part. I'm going to be hosting Wednesday, showing you a campaign of what to put together to get your information to the credit bureaus. So once again, this is Aurelia. I'm signing off. Look forward to talking to you. Have a great 2016. And please share this with anyone that you know that needs this information. Good night, and thank you.